This is a story about a time I snuck into a VIP marquee on the 18th green at a European golf tournament. I don't quite know what the meaning of this story is yet. Perhaps we can figure it out together. I've got a lot of these wild stories and I've been testing them here on YouTube to see if anything sticks or lands. It's pretty tricky for me telling stories like this because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and when I do it too scripted and polished, it all feels a bit rigid. So I'm going to keep it loose and a bit messy, and just try and tell the story. Basically, I'm not a golfer, don't have a lot of interest in it. I was in London and I had moved from Australia to London to play in a band. I was trying to make friends, and a mutual friend suggested that we go to this European golf tournament because he had tickets. We loaded up on beers on the train. I was drinking far too much at the time, running from a lot of things. That's a whole nother story. We go to this golf tournament and I'm walking around and it's all very perfectly manicured. There's like little perfect picket fences. The grass is perfect. There's like bouquets of flowers. And it's all feeling so pristine that it's making the kind of punk rock side of me uncomfortable. Then one of the golfers who's competing walks toward us with all the cameras behind him. And I'm like, I think he's coming towards us. He walks up to us and he's like, hey guys, have you seen my ball? At that point, I was like, this is all feeling a bit ridiculous, not to undermine uh, the prowess of professional golf. It's just not really my cup of tea. Anyway, we've had far too many beers, and then we noticed that there's this VIP extravagant marquee that apparently is 3,000 quid a head overlooking the 18th green. We're sort of milling around it, and we decided it'd be a good idea to pretend we're chefs and sneak in through the kitchen. We didn't have costumes or anything, so we just go in normally dressed. I think I sort of stirred some soup on my way through and said g'day to the other chefs, and they just looked at me in shock. I go out into the main area. There's all these tables overlooking the 18th green, and I'm sure there was a lot of distinguished guests there. I went straight up to the bar. There was a woman at the bar. My ego was out of control, so I asked her what it was like to have a husband who hits a little white ball for a living. This is just really ridiculous, like young bloke. It was all based on insecurity. To be a professional golfer, it probably takes 20,000 hours, if not more, a lot of sacrifice to get to that level. And there I am, drunk, having snuck in and, asking this ridiculous question. I could see some curiosity in her eye, more of like, what the heck is this bloke doing in here? Before she had a chance to answer the question, I was dragged out by security. That's basically the story. Golf has never really ended well for me. I played once in high school and I didn't have a set of clubs, so my friend said, it's all right, I'm going to lend you my grandfather's set of clubs that he took to the war with him and brought back to Australia. On the first tee, I took a swing with the one wood. Took a swing with the one wood. And because the club was from the 1920s, as soon as it hit the ball, the head just shattered into 1,000 pieces. I'll have to cut that cough out. Or maybe not. That was like one of my only times playing golf. But this experience sneaking into the marquee, what was I trying to prove there? I've always had a rebellious spirit. I've always enjoyed taking a risk. I don't know what I expected to achieve. Maybe the real moral of the story is like, do the work, do the 20,000 hours that actually gets you into that room, rather than be some shady dude who sneaks in through the kitchen. I had a lot of stuff I wasn't dealing with at the time, like I say, and I started to face up to those things. in time as the journey in London went on. But it was good times. It's made a good story, I hope, and something I'll look back on when I'm an old man, not sitting at the bar because I don't drink anymore. Not drinking changed my life for the better. That's maybe another video there. All right, guys, the point of this, if there's anything in that story that resonates in any way, shape, or form, I'd love to hear it. If you've got any tips for how I can refine the story, because what I do is I take that story and I refine it and shape it more on Substack. So my Substack publication is called Fade to Now. There's a link in the description. That's where you'll find a more refined version of the story if you want to head over there. If you have had an experience where you gatecrashed something, you snuck into somewhere you didn't belong, and you learned something from it, I would love to hear from you in the comments. And I've got a lot of wild stories like these that I'm going to continue to test. Maybe it's not that wild, but in my eyes, it was pretty wild. Thank you so much for tuning in. Till next time, guys.